We are with Quebec's own Patrick Cote getting set for a big fight at the Bell Center Saturday night. How ready is Patrick Cote for this fight? I mean, you are one of the big stars on this show, Pat.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I was supposed to fight in March, and the fight got postponed. And I'm in fight mode, training camp / training camp since January. So I'm ready to go.
Tell us just a bit about that process of, a lot of the Canadian fighters, I mean, they're kind of earmarked for a lot of the Canadian cards. Does that become tough? Because I'm sure you'd be happy, like last September, fighting Vegas, fighting wherever, or is Montreal special for you? You like these cards?
Yeah, Vegas is always fun, but no, I love fighting here in Montreal. When I fight in Canada, I'm almost undefeated, and especially here in Montreal, the crowd just awesome, and it's good to fight home. I can sleep in my own bed, I can cook my own food at home, and I can stay home, so it's good.
Joe Riggs, I mean, someone that has been everywhere, a guy that has been fighting for years and years. What are you preparing specifically for a guy like Joe Riggs, he's been through some wars in his career?
Yeah, a lot. He's very experienced. He's a veteran. He has more than 50 fights under his belt, and for me, it's to put pressure. He's very flat foot, so I have to put pressure, a lot of movement, and be careful about his power.
Now, as a analyst out there, doing our job as well, Pat, I got to get your thoughts. Quinton Jackson is now back on the card. It's certainly adding a lot of buzz here at the last minute for the show. In spite of the fact that Steve Bosse, who, for those outside of Montreal, this is a guy that brings a lot of notoriety to a card, and now he'll be off in favor of Quinton Jackson. What are your thoughts on the roller coaster of a week for the UFC?
It sucks for Steve. Steve's one of my friend, and I know him pretty well. And he was ready to go. He was supposed to fight in the UFC a couple of years ago at the show in Quebec City, but finally he was out, and he decided to take a retirement. And then now that was a chance to come back. He was in his mind. He was fighting on this card, and like 3 days before he got pulled out. But for me, it doesn't change anything. My job is to go there and beat Joe Riggs, and I'll watch the fight anyway.
All right, and last thing, just on the main event, Demetrius Johnson. Are you a fan of his style of fighting? I mean, he's somebody that it seems every time he is on a card, people talk about what a talented fighter this is, but somehow is just not at the level of a notoriety of some other champions. Why do you think that is?
That's the only problem with Demetrius Johnson is his weight class. That's the problem. This is the best fighter pound for pound in the world in my mind. Nobody is getting even close to give him a hard time. I think it's going to be the same thing against Ariguchi. I don't want to have a lack of respect against toward Ariguchi, but Demetrius Johnson for me is unreal. In my book, he's the best fighter pound for pound.
Well, all the best going into Saturday with Joe Riggs. Appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.